Hello and welcome to episode 130 of Riding in the Weeds. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are going to work on aligning our actions with our future vision. So, what this is all about is our Start Where You Are 30-day container is really about taking the vision that you set up in the Future Vision workshop and then really making sure that your actions are aligning with that vision, because we cannot manifest anything from thin air. We need to align the actions that we're taking with the vision. The vision is there to guide us. Like, as I keep saying, it's our North Star. So that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to do a little bit of a coaching session, really. So if you have a pen and paper nearby, that will be helpful, but absolutely not necessary at all. You can do this in your head, no problem. And then we'll leave you with a few journal prompts and a little bit of homework to think about over the next week. And then we'll pick up next week from where we leave off today. So I am Natasha Lockie. I am a lifestyle, business, performance coach and consultant. I help you figure out what it is you're wanting to do, where you're standing in your own way, and then help you with the strategies as well as the boots on the ground technical support to get things actually rolling. Because a lot of the time, if you're doing everything, you burn out, right? Your creative juices are where your zone of genius is. And when we step outside of our zone of genius, then we generally don't do everything in the best way. That's what I'm here for. I'm super excited. I've just launched my new website at natashalockie.com. It's still a work in progress, but I'm pretty excited with my front page. So go check that out. And I am joined today with my co-host, Ginny, who's going to introduce herself, and then we're going to drop right on in.
Yeah, I am Ginny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. If you are struggling with your pet's behavior or dealing with emotional challenges or big life events, that's a great reason to have a session together.
Okay, so let's just sort of start from the beginning. First step we need to have is we need to know the end slide. What I mean by the end slide is if you're in a movie, what's the last slide of the movie going to look like? Let's sort of throw some examples out there. You want to have the fancy car, you want to have all the money in the bank, you want to have the hot husband, the super cool children, you want to be living in your dream location. Now, what I just listed was a whole lot of materialistic things, and that is totally okay. But what is really important here is that we also drop into our heart space, and we drop into our feeling space, and we drop into why it is we want these things. Because the caveat to all of this is if we want these things in order to prove our worthiness, like I want to have money because then I will feel like I'm worthy, you might get everything. Well, if you do it right, you will get everything that you've ever dreamed and desired, but you're going to get there and you're still going to be empty and you're still going to be needing and wanting more. So, just the caveat to all of this is before you look at that end slide, drop into that heart space. We've talked about this before. Open up that heart and really feel into what it is that you really want. What's the feeling that you're going for? Because no amount of money, no amount of anything really is going to resolve a feeling of unworthiness or a feeling, well, really, I don't know what else is there. Unworthiness? Give me some more, Jenny. Help me out here.
Inadequacy, not good enough. Yeah, all of those things that usually come from our childhood somewhere. The things we were told, the things we were taught. When they come out of our childhood like that, you can't manifest them away. That doesn't work.
No. And so if we're manifesting things in order to solve a problem, like it'll work, it'll 100% work, but you're not going to solve the problem.
Mm-mm.
So, like, the caveat here is to really start with that opening of the heart and then figuring out the inside. And I'm not saying you can't want all those things and you can't have all those things, but we need to really be in that space of where we are right now, and our current reality is where we want to start from. Opening our heart, understanding where we're coming from will enable us to do all of this in the right way.
Yeah. I think I would say that you can't manifest something in order to change how you're feeling. You cannot manifest the money to make yourself feel good enough. That's the wrong order of operations, so to speak, in that process. So it's all about starting where you are and working on those feelings now, because the money doesn't matter. The money isn't why you don't feel good enough. The house isn't why you don't feel good enough.
Yeah.
So making sure you're starting from the right place where you're at versus trying to achieve the thing and then thinking you'll feel better is the trap that we fall into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can attest to this because I feel like I've actually had an opportunity recently. A friend of mine sent me a text message, and really it wasn't anything she said, but she's 7 years younger than me. And it flashed me back to where I was 7 years ago. And I was like, holy shit, I am in a completely different place than I was on my 40th birthday. My entire life is different. And on my 40th birthday, I had the body, I was fit, I was strong, I was living at the base of a ski resort. I was living the life that I have always dreamed of. I had it all, and yet I still felt like I wasn't fit enough. I still felt like I needed to do more. I needed to create more. I was running 3 businesses. How many businesses does a person need? I was I was important. I was very important. Without me, people couldn't get to the ski resort. And I was the person who made mountain biking happen in a mountain bike town. I was doing all the things. And yet something was missing. And I'm really going to say at this moment that it was this. It was the fact that I needed to feel important because I didn't feel worthy. I needed to be doing all those things, but yet I still didn't feel important. I still didn't feel like I mattered. I still didn't feel like I actually had friends that cared about me. Recently, I went back to that world and without all those things and realized that all of the people and the friends and the stuff that I had, none of them were there because I was important. They were actually there because they cared about me, but I couldn't see it because I was so busy trying to get all the things. So now I don't have any of those things. And it's giving me a really cool opportunity to be in that space of, okay, where am I going to go next? And we're going to do this together, creating from the heart space. So take a moment and just reconnect with that end slide. If you've got a pen and piece of paper, maybe just jot down or do it later. But your homework in this is to sit down and make a list of all the things that you want and do it with an open heart. And review that list, look at it and be like, why do I want these things? And I mean, it's okay to want a really fancy car because driving a fancy car, well, it's a lot of fun. That is what we're going for. Not because then people will look at you and be like, well, look at her. She is somebody because she's got a big fancy car.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to that, Jenny?
No, I think that covers it. Really, I think the biggest detail there is that the things won't make you feel a certain way. So if your statement is, I want blank because I will feel better about myself or something to that effect, then that's not going to work. Because even if you do achieve the thing, your feelings won't change at that point. So the things don't give you the feeling. The feeling needs to come first. So how do you want to feel, and start there?
Yeah. And it also, your behaviors won't line up either. And that's what's important. If you're trying to set boundaries with family members, unless you've resolved this sort of stuff, you're going to keep on backsliding. And as soon as you resolve it, what's interesting is everything else starts to align and the boundaries aren't needed anymore because your space has changed and you've kind of removed the molecular structure that allowed for that to be the thing. I think it's the same with weight loss and our fitness and those sorts of things. When you remove whatever it is, like I need to be thin so that people think that I'm XYZ, then you're going to keep struggling. You're going to keep on coming up because it's not a clean signal. When I just want to be fit and healthy so that I'm able to age well, that's a clean signal. And that will allow your through line to happen. It's easy to go to the gym when that's the clean signal. The resistance is gone. So the first thing, our focus around this is really about normalizing your resistance because you're going to have it. But we want to go that layer deeper and actually look at how we can clear the resistance by having a clear signal to what that end screen, what that vision really looks like and why we're wanting it. Because just to repeat myself, when the why is clearly aligned, those resistances start to drop away. Okay, so then we're just going to get down to the nuts and bolts of it. What are the little action steps you're going to take? So we're going to look at the next week. We're going to look at what you're wanting to do, and we're going to look at how you're going to align your actions with that. For me this week, it was really fascinating because I had the most amazing time. I went away with my girlfriends. I made this girls trip happen. It was incredible. I manifested like a freaking genius. The week before, my husband and I had been at the resort, and I had looked up the prices for the desert spa, which is the spa at the resort. And I was like, okay, you would not believe the prices of this spa. We're talking 10,000 pesos for a 90-minute massage. That's about $900. Actually, not a massage, that was a facial. We're talking 5,000 pesos for a 50-minute massage. That's around 350 US dollars. I can get a massage on the beach for $45. So
Yeah.
what, like I was just, my mind was blown as to who would be paying these prices, and even asking myself the question, if I had all the money in the world, and I now know the answer, but if I had all the money in the world, I pay for that experience. So we then go back with the girls and we go to the members cocktail party, and we walk in, we're late, the room is completely packed, there's no available seats, and we go to one table and he's got available seats, but two people at a 6-person table, they're not allowing anyone to sit with them because they have a service dog. We're like, well, why are you not at a smaller table? But that's on a different level. I then look around and I'm like, okay, well, we need 2 spots at a table, 3 spots at a table. So I see a table has 2 spots available. I go to the people and I'm like, can we sit with you? We find another chair. They're like, of course. And we start talking to these people. I find out that they have a 3-bedroom penthouse in the super nice resort. There's 3 resorts, and so they're in the super nice quiet one. I've always wanted to go into one of those penthouses. Always wanted to see them. We have a dream of pulling down all our points and staying in one of those for like a week or even 2 days. And so they invite us back to their penthouse. So we go to their penthouse after the party. I also find out that if you're an elite member, you get, so I answer my question, you get 8 free massages at the Desert Spa when you're an elite member. So now I know who goes to the Desert Spa. It's the people that have already paid in, right? So no,
Yeah.
people aren't paying those prices. They've already paid for them. And then she also had so many points and so many credits that she had spent another $1,500 in points, so not out of cash out of pocket, but to get certificates, because she didn't know that she had 8 included a year. So she'd bought more because she had family that were coming down that didn't end up coming. So now she's there for 2 weeks. She's got more massages and spa time than she can spend. And she's like, if I don't use them, they just poof, they disappear. They don't roll over to next year. She's like, would you girls like a massage tomorrow? And I'm like,
Yes.
yes, please. Understanding the way these things work and that they're like, use it or they're gone. I'm like, we will happily receive that. So the next day, somehow, me and my 2 friends are escorted into the Desert Spa, which is an insane facility. It is so magical. And we're just sitting there like, we just manifested this incredible experience. And yeah, all that to say, it just, my questions got answered. I wanted to know what it was like in there. I wanted to know how much better the massage was. Honestly, the massage was great. It was awesome, but I wouldn't say that it was
It was
300.
not a $900 massage.
Well, I didn't get the $900 facial. I got
Well,
the 50 minutes. So it was
the
only a
$300.
$350 massage. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
facility, however, was delightful. It had all of the things. So we spent an hour hanging out there afterwards. Um, and so, anyway, I come back from that, and somehow I have a complete physical breakdown. I'm like exhausted, and then I got a cold and all the things. So, this last week, which was like, okay, I got to get my stuff together, I got work to do. And I was like, no, I need to align my actions. And I sat down at my computer on Monday and I was like, what am I going to work on? And through a foggy head, through ultimate physical resistance, I managed to build the first page of my website. Because I was like, I'm going to take one step towards what I need to do. And as I started to work, I started to feel better. It took me 2 days to really get the website the way I wanted it to be. But over the last couple of days, whilst feeling completely like poop, I've managed to get my first page of my website up. I've finished a bunch of work that I needed to do for a course that I'm creating. And and I got our podcast up and got marketing done and have been doing marketing for our Start Where You Are course. So I feel like every day I took 3 action steps. I also made it to the gym. I felt like at the end of every day that I was like, you know what, I've really managed to get some action steps done. Now, if I was measuring those action steps against the end goal, I would have fallen fairly far short. But measuring them against what do I need to do today? What do I want to have done by the end of the week? I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And I think that's where we want to really land with this call, is that it's normalizing the resistance. So wherever you're at, making your action steps for the day realistic within how you're feeling, what you're physically capable of, and just taking small little steps. So at the end of the day, you can be like, I have 3 wins, and they are this, this, and this. So you're measuring what you said you were going to do, knowing your energy level at the beginning of the day with what you did at the end of the day, and then starting over the next day. And even for me, I know a lot of people and a lot of wisdom out there is to set up what you're going to do the night before. That honestly, that doesn't work for me. I know it works for a lot of people. It might work for you. But I never know how I'm going to feel when I wake up in the morning. So often,
Yeah.
actually aligning what I'm going to do, it's something I need to do when I get up and see. Like, I think my day is going to go one way and it's going to go a completely different way. I woke up this morning. I was planning on getting up, going to the gym, having a shower, being here for the podcast. My husband wasn't well last night. I didn't get much sleep. I ended up sleeping until 9:30 to make up for the fact I didn't sleep most of the night. Did not go to the gym. Internet wasn't working. was late for the podcast recording. My girlfriend, who I was supposed to do something with this afternoon, her daughter's now in hospital getting her appendix removed. I potentially have to meet somebody at 2:30. I might have a massage at 1 o'clock. That was not what my day looked like yesterday when I made the plan. So for me, I know that really setting it up as I start the day is the only way that I'm going to win. Otherwise, I will be constantly frustrated and constantly managing resistance. And knowing myself, it's like I also have little things I need to do that I know I resist. I have to buy some face care stuff to get sent to my friend so she can bring it to me. And I've resisted it for 3 days. So that's my one thing I have to do today that's a big, like, I can do it. I got this. Because I struggle to spend money on myself in that way. And I know that.
Yeah. I think the key in all of this is the adaptability of recognizing what is the best next small step you can take. Because a month of small steps is better than trying to hammer something out 2 or 3 days, once a week, even. You're going to make more progress over doing small steps for 30 days than you will if you're trying to do those big leaps even a couple times a week. And that adds up very, very quickly. The horse work that I do is so deceptively simple. People look at what I do and they can't see what's happening because literally that's the baby step level that we're working on, is those tiny, tiny small steps. But then they suddenly realize the horse behaves better, they look better, they feel better, they act better, all of those things. And they almost don't understand what happened because it looks like nothing. And when you can look for that almost nothing level of something, it really will compound so much faster than when you're trying to do these huge leaps. If you had decided you were going to sit down and work for 4 hours on your website, like, would you have really signed up to do that willingly? But when all you do is decide you're going to start, that gives you the momentum and the freedom to be able to keep working. I have found the more I have focused on that level of alignment, that I can finish a day with more energy than I started my day with. And I can finish a day feeling better than when I started my day. We were actually supposed to record yesterday, and I woke up feeling very, very low energy and just not focused, brain foggy, kind of not great feeling. And I texted you and was like, I don't think I have it in me today. And I was, as per the usual obligations, like, oh man, I don't want to cancel because we're supposed to do this together. Of course, you text me back and you're like, no, that's perfect. So what did I do? I used that time and took a nap. And it was apparently a much needed nap because I woke up and I felt better. And so that action step was the best small step I could take in that moment that would help support me. Because guess what? I was able to sit down at the computer after my nap and actually get some serious work done. And I don't think if I had tried to push through and keep the obligation that I had set for myself, I would have been able to do that. And so looking for that alignment and always seeking the thing that feels most in alignment, that is the step in the direction of your goals. Sometimes it's even a nap. What does a nap have to do with getting computer work done? Well, I woke up refreshed. So yeah, it has everything to do with computer work. So sometimes those steps don't even feel like they connect together, but when you're getting the nudge, that's when it's important to listen to it and follow it and just see. And that's how you build the trust with yourself, right? Trusting myself that a nap was the next best possible step I could have taken in my day yesterday was probably the best thing I could have done, because the next time I get a nudge to go do something that's not on my to-do list or that I don't think I, quote, have time for, when I listen to it, it'll probably end up benefiting me more in the long run than whatever was on my to-do list in the first place.
Well, and it's interesting because back to my scatterness, yesterday I had a 9:30 meeting that got cancelled. It got turned into a 10:30 meeting that got cancelled, that then got turned into a 12 o'clock meeting. So I was...
No wonder you were happy to not record.
I was like all over the show. And I'm just looking at our notes here, and it says, make sure the action is actually small enough, adjust the scale, not the direction, And the important note is that this week, what we really want to hammer home is that it's about trust. It's not about the output. And that is really important because I didn't sign up to sit down for 5 hours to do my website, but I did end up sitting there probably for 4 or 5 hours doing my website. And then I got up and then I looked at it on the mobile and it wasn't right. So then I had to spend another 3 hours the next day doing it. But by then I was engaged. And so I actually had to force myself to not spend my entire day. Once I got to that, I was like, right, and move on. And so it's about building that trust with yourself. And it's about seeing the patterns. And we were just talking about the whole timing thing before we jumped on. Gay Hendricks has a really good book called The Big Leap that we now know that's what the name of the book is, but that's a different story. And in that, he talks about timing and how most often, if you're ever in a hurry, if you're ever feeling stressed for time, if you ever have an appointment or something that's on the other end, if you remind yourself that where you are right now is the right place to be and that everything will work out, the chances are if you're running late and you reach out to the person and you say, hey, look, I'm running late. I have never had this happen where the person hasn't said, oh, thank goodness, I need that time to do X, Y, Z. Honestly, since I read that book, that has always been the case. What you always have control over is your center and where you are in the moment. And if you tell yourself, you know what, when I arrive is going to be the perfect time, it changes one thing: your state of mind. Because that is the only thing you really have power over, is whether you're stressed in that moment when there's nothing you can do about it. If you're late, you're late. The fact that you might have left late, or it could be conditions outside of your ability to change, or it might be you were late because you badly managed your time. Doesn't matter. Where you are in that moment is you're late. And so you can either be freaking out about being late, making excuses. I'm really good at that. That I can tell the person once I get there, well, it was because of. But if you're just actually honest with the fact that this is the moment I'm in, I'm late, and when I arrive will be the perfect time, it reroutes the direction of the energy. And then when you do arrive, you're grounded. And it is the perfect time because there's no other time. And we start to shift those realities. We can't change the script necessarily, but we can change the film roll by visioning. And then you've got that opportunity to look at the next slide that's going to happen. I am going to arrive at the meeting and everybody else is going to be late, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have 10 minutes, center myself, and then everyone else is going to arrive. And you do a little bit of meditation and you anchor into that reality. And then when it actually happens, you're like, whoa, how powerful am I? That's pretty cool. And if it doesn't happen, you at least didn't spend the last half an hour freaking out, and you're at least in a grounded space. So all that to say, think about your action steps as far as adjusting the scale to make them work with what's really going on in the moment. Don't change your direction. You know where your North Star is. Just keep moving towards it. Develop that trust with yourself. Develop the trust that you will do the steps that need to be done. Sometimes you'll do them faster. Sometimes you'll do them slower, but you're going to do them. So that's a bulk of the content there. I'm going to let Ginny chime in on anything she wants to chime in on, and then we're just going to leave you with some action thoughts for the next few days.
Yeah, no, I think you've really covered it pretty well. It's all about that small step and the next best step in the moment, even if it doesn't look like it contributes to where you're going. You have to learn to trust your own inner wisdom. It's there, it's available to you, but you've got to learn to listen to it. Taking that daily present intention to hear it is how you will learn what it sounds like and what nudges you need to follow. having a daily practice in the morning and the evening to both set your intentions in the morning and then reflect upon what worked and what didn't in the evening is super helpful to be able to start understanding, like, oh, okay, I trusted myself here and it worked, or I ignored that little voice and here's how my day went and it wasn't that great. So being able to have a way to notice that consistently, journaling is super helpful. You can even use AI to track this stuff. I've been playing around with that lately and it's been really amazing to give me the reflection, to show me where I'm working it well and then where I'm not paying attention when I need to be. So whatever resources you need to do that, it's a great way to reach out and figure out what works the best for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on the journaling thing too, there's some research out there now that doing voice notes is actually super powerful. If journaling's not working for you, recording a voice note and then just deleting it, there's some research around how valuable it is to speak out loud.
You could voice note right into AI and have it give you feedback. There's a lot of possibilities out there. We really have no excuse in this day and age. There's too many tools out there that are super useful for this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So figuring out which one is the one that works best for you is all that really matters.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the last bit of this is our action steps. So I'm just going to kind of throw these at you guys. So, action one is writing down one sentence. I want to, dot, dot, dot. So, keeping it honest, unfiltered, really starting with opening that heart. I would recommend doing a small meditation to really ground yourself, relaxing your body before doing that. And clarity beats perfection. Just really writing it down, voice note, however you want to do it. The second action is, and don't do all these at once. Give yourself time, because the whole idea is that slow and steady beats fast. So, why this matters. So, the reflection, and this is really coming back to what I started with. Why do you want this? What changes if you do it? And that's all we really want to focus on in this step. So, why this matters. Because if you're wanting it because you want to feel worthy, there's some work. This one little action sounds like something you can do all of these in like 5 minutes. I got this. But not if you want to do it properly, right? So, really digging into this. Well, I want the money so that I can feel worthy and not feel bad and be able to buy whatever I want. But why do you really want that? Because if you can dig through, then you're going to come at it from a pure place. Now we've got the action of, okay, so next to the why do you want it? So listing 3 ways that your life gets better if you follow through. So your why doesn't need to be deep, it just needs to be yours. I've got these notes so that I don't forget what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so day 3 is what's in your way. So your reflection is what stops you. Ideas, overwhelm, fear, not knowing where to start, perfection, time. Really reflecting on that, right? And be honest. It's the hard part. And then you want to write down your action as writing down the real reason that you stall. And one sentence is enough. And there's nothing wrong with you, right? Like, honestly, and that's why having a container to share this stuff in is pretty cool, because you'll realize that everyone's like, oh, yeah, me too. Oh, yeah, okay, right. Yeah, the only thing that's wrong is that you're human, having a human experience, and you didn't get the manual. So you're just bumping up against your pattern. And if you can see what your pattern is, my biggest pattern is not really wanting the success, so I won't do the thing. And it's an obvious pattern. Like, why haven't I ordered the skin cream? Well, because I really enjoy stressing over it not arriving. That's great. And so I will just procrastinate. Which actually worked out really well recently. I went to buy something and I procrastinated for 3 days and it got cheaper. So sometimes procrastination works. Most of the time it doesn't. Okay, day 4, the small version reflection. So what is the tiniest version of this dream? The one that requires 0 courage. So your action here is to shrink your goal until it feels like it's almost too easy. Imagine that. That's a super cool idea, right? How easy can we make this? And as Ginny will always say, small counts. Doesn't look like you're getting anywhere, but it makes a huge difference. So shrink. tiniest, tiniest, tiniest version of this dream. I love this. Okay, and number 5, what you're willing to start. What are you willing to actually take a step on right now? So the reflection here is, what part of this feels doable this week? And your action is to pick one tiny piece, one page, one email, one action. And the reminder here is that momentum starts with willingness, not confidence. You can totally do this however you want to do it. I'm going to put these in the show notes so you can see them. So if you want to see this, take a look at the show notes and you'll be able to see the list of what these look like. And really, what's important is you do them. You can take 5 days to do them. You can do them all at once and then spend the next 5 days reflecting on them one at a time. It's up to you. There's no rules. The most important thing is that you take the time to take the action steps and build that trust with yourself. And if you can really set this up, it will allow you to go through the rest of the month in the space of getting this stuff done. Because that's the goal, right? The goal is to start to work towards that end screen vision without being overwhelmed, without being taken down by the scope of it. But it's not the scope that's going to take you down. It's whatever your resistance is. So we're just going to take our little ice pick and we're going to chip, 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 chip away at that resistance until we've just got one tiny piece that we can get started on.
Yeah, I love it. I think really what's underneath all of this is the nervous system piece, right? The trusting ourselves and the learning that trust is all about taking care of our nervous system. And it's something that the majority of us were never taught. Our traditional schooling methods pretty much bulldoze right over anybody's nervous system. There are people that can figure out how to deal with that and cope with it, but they're not taking care of that nervous system piece. And what I find happens is when you do that first and take care of it first, what ends up happening is suddenly you want to do the bigger steps. You know, I've had that experience with the horses. My confidence was always very fragile in the beginning when I was riding. And there were days where I was too afraid to get on. And when I gave myself permission to take small steps and not worry about that goal, suddenly one day I wanted to get on. The conditions were right and I wanted to take that next step. But it's because I honored where my nervous system was first. And so that's the underlying piece of all of this is that's the goal is to honor where your nervous system's at and then begin to take the small actions that start building it up from there. But you have to take those actions in order to start building to get to the point where you can. Because if you never take action at all, you'll always have that fear in whatever form it is hanging over you.
Absolutely. Okay, so just a couple of housekeeping, well, maybe not housekeeping, but offers out there. So if you're going through this work and you feel like you need support, we're here for you. We have our Substack membership. So if you sign up to be a member in our paid community, you can go in there and post in your challenges, post what you're going through, and we will totally be there to support. I also have a package right now. It's 3 1-hour one-to-one session coaching to work on really whatever you're wanting to work on. But in this particular theme of this podcast, we could really go through this stuff together over the next month and get that one-to-one. And I'm offering those for $197. So you can go to the natashalockie.com, hit my schedule. I've only got one page up there right now, but if you hit schedule a call, we can have a 15-minute chat and see if that would be a right fit for you. And I could give you direct support in moving through these actions and really breaking this down. And not just that, if there's more to it, like you're needing a website, you're needing a booking site, that's also part of what I do there. So yeah, that's, I think, it for today. I'm going to sign off, and Ginny can say whatever she wants and sign off herself. So yeah, I am Natasha Lockie. I'm changing this up this week, so I'm going to have to really work on my show notes, but you can find me at natashalockie.com. I still have my Instagram, Betty Gohard. I am still Natasha Lockie on Facebook, and our Writing in the Weeds is up on Substack. So if you're really looking to find me, go to my website, and if you're wanting to have a chat, just schedule a call, and I'm excited to chat with you. Ginny, all you.
Yeah, I am Ginny Brandon. I'm an animal communicator and energy healer for animals and their people too. You can find me on the web at soulpetconnections.com or on Substack, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under the same handles. So thank you for hanging on through this wild ride through the weeds today. We've certainly thrown a lot of information at you, but we hope you found it helpful, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.